самые аванские провидцы.
И очень важно было меня проводить, им очень важно было
Здрасте, здрасте.
их поставить.
Поэтому подставником ты готов сам двигаться.
Если я здесь, то готов, конечно.
Но я надеюсь, что ты сейчас улыбнешься. Подумаешь о чем-то романтичном.
Я открытый.
Черри, черри.
На кастинг нашего шоу было подано десятки тысяч заявок.
А я, короче, сам с тобой начали разговаривал, я не понял, что я стрим не запустил. Смотри мой закорум с 4 дырочками. Караптик, как тебе? И с фасетиками на Magic урон. Ну так, чуть-чуть, черри. Я сейчас на картах сегодня решил поноситься. Сначала простые побегать, чтобы... Там же дропаются всегда с босса карта какая-нибудь, может там что-то упадет. Ну а так, да, немножко уже приподнялся. Надо теперь этот джах выбить и аник купить. В принципе, тогда будет все по шмоткам. По ощущениям, конечно, уже гораздо все прям так кайфовее. Ну, то есть прям уже вот так вот можно, знаешь, бегать. Толпучки помочить. Раньше в этот момент я боялся. Берн Форест Релик. Т3 упало вообще. Кирилл, этот 12 апреля стартует Project. Начинай тоже. Кайфанешь. Поймешь, что такое Диабло настоящее. Вот графика, конечно, да, но, блин. Контент. Где? А. А, ничего себе, прям так. Что 12-го все по-любому пойдут в этот ПД-2. Там Там сегодня будет, наверное, анонсик какой-нибудь. Через полчаса же стрим будет у Сенпая. Он сегодня решил постримить для европейцев, типа, пораньше. Обычно же ночью. Анонсирует что-нибудь интересное, наверное. Вот, блин, вот Коди сделал себе перфектная охота, перфектную КТАшку. Прям перфект. А пойду в этот, на нормальный сервак в ПД2 и все. Там все будет в анусе. Жалко, что, блин, этих иммунов много мэджиков. То есть мне еще не все карты можно бегать. Thundergood Вига. Это вот обидно. Ну я с этот на втором монике запущу в любом случае трансляцию с Empire. Там во время стрима смотреть, что он там анонсирует. Ложку надо, чтобы к этому сделать наемнику броньку. Ортик. I can't carry anymore, окей. Что у нас там? Центр. Еще надо посмотреть. Может там какая-нибудь компашка есть. Интересно. Окей. Так, надо вот здесь вот так вот сделать. И подготовить эмпая.
Good day. Afternoon.
Burn Forest. Burn Forest я не могу, по-моему, бегать, да? Да, Burn Forest я не могу бегать. Mystic Rips.
Ладно, не буду тебя.
Mystic Rips могу бегать, окей.
Скажи, что ты сам видишь.
Да. Апс. Вот это я не могу бегать, а вот это я могу бегать. Интересно, а здесь можно так вот сделать? Просто интересно. Нельзя, да? То есть это, короче, вот так вот получается в любом случае, а эти можно закараптить. В надежде. Так, ну этот трейд у нас идет в любом случае. Трейд. Может быть коровник просто. Может и не быть. Понял. У нас тогда здесь остается. Это мы не можем бегать. Что у нас тут? Чего можно бежать?
Salutations.
Мы не можем бежать. На караптов очень мало, так бы я все караптил. Ой, Хорн, да. Эти нубские карты сейчас полностью не чищу. До босса и так пачки большие.
Сейчас взять вот это вот развернуть, потому что если сейчас, да, еще
Да? Ну, интересно же, как жена с телевизором общается. Фар фасет замал. Смотрим, что у нас по цене был Fire Facet. Facet. Из R291. Да, конечно. Конечно, покупай.
Good to see you.
Так, Eagle Horn. Что у нас? Weapon. Пускай здесь висит, окей.
Can I help you?
А у тебя, Солнце, было розовое платье? Привет, давай. Рядом, наверное. Так забавно слушать, как жена с телевизором общается. Один, ты один. Второй тогда я тебя слышать не буду. Чё? Я такой же. Сама ж знаешь. Блин, лыжники нормально долго так-то.
Где-то раньше это было хуже.
Где?
Если бегать.
Не, ну мне больше как бы мне очень любопытно и интересно.
там синпайт, да? Пора запускаться. О, ничего себе, синтез. Первая шмотка синтеза упала, пацаны. Это типа 3 легендарки вместе. Интересно. Ой, лыжники под майтом. Это интересно. Это интересно.
Обалдеть.
Ну ты особенная. Потому что у тебя мужчина особенный. Интересно посмотреть, с чем засинтезировалась вещь. В теории там же может быть прям жестко что-то. Пафос это сколько? Так, а вот там уже анонсик сенпая. Да? Я так понимаю. Где он, сенпай? А, вот и сенпай.
Мне 20
Good
лет,
day.
являюсь видеоблогером. Я очень рада вновь приветствовать именно тебя на
What do you
моем
need?
канале. Я создала себя сама. Я начала вести свой видеоблог в 10 лет, когда, наверное, я полюбила планшет.
Ого, какие статы-то. Опачки, опачки. Интересно. Вот, смотри, какая шмоточка упала. Это надо запостить. General. О, красава, красава. Блин, интересно, синергированный этот попался.
Меня зовут Карина, я занимаюсь всем подряд. И блогер, и таро, и магия, и спорт, и эзотерика в целом. И что еще расскажу?
Интересная штука, на самом деле. И подсвечивается. А как интересно в руках он выглядит?
Честно, с таким говорить, а я красиво.
Ну, красиво, чё? Big damage per second. Maximum durability. Окей, ладно. Это интересно. Что здесь ничего, можно найти. Такого жесткого
Good
нету.
afternoon.
Серьезно? Не, ну хотя бы первый раз упало, это уже хорошо. Я хотя бы знаю, что вот фильтр подсвечивает. Синтез. Развод? Все, точно теперь не разводимся, солнце. Да, 90 евро. Ну, за 90 евро, чтобы пожрать, лучше купим своем булочки, возьмем там пироженки, посидим и помиримся заново. Правильно? Тратить 90 евро на развод. Бутылка вина и пожрать вкусняшек. Ну. Не, это не нам не надо такое. Да, мы тоже любим. Мы вчера зашли, короче, в Мак Черри. А там в Мак кафе вкусные пироженки. Ну и, короче, вот не смогли вот уйти без них. Да, мам. Наташа говорит, и все как в тумане, все сразу стало. Кроме одного, кроме яблочного. Кроме яблочного скупили все. Rumble Mix, Rumble Mix. Окей, окей.
Константин победил.
Синтез. Что у нас тут? Рестарт сервера. Ну, я, если что, ни при чем. Вечером просто видишь нагрузка, все приходят домой, начинается.
I am overburdened.
Ребус, окей. С инфайтом 100 лет запускается. Всегда, блин.
I am overburdened.
Да, да. Армия уничтожит. Класс. проходил мимо, я даже почувствовал тепло. Как только сэмпай запустится, я чуть-чуть голос его тоже включу в стриме. Ну, чтобы слышать, что он рассказывает в моменте, тогда обращать внимание. Надо идти, короче, дентиться.
Good to see you.
Я была крайне удивлена,
Evening.
что Константин выбрал ее. Выбрал Марию, кстати говоря, думаю, очень приятно. Благодарю. В глазах, я думаю, это зацепило. Она еще очень такая культурная, загадочная, ее хочется узнать.
Я тогда думаю, что нам надо пообщаться.
Ну, видненько. Мне стало неприятно.
Так, суммон некр.
И зачем, конечно, вот руководство. Я думаю, что я не сумела, но я бы хотела сначала пообщаться, так сказать, потом уже трусы снимать. Свечу ГЭС.
Церебус у меня один есть, по-моему, да? А, я вообще его выкинул. Вообще выкинул, понял. Так, ладно, это ставим здесь.
Я сижу, он сверху, просто такая не выбирается.
Evening.
Да, я люблю. И мы с ней решили много. Сейчас мы надо действительно написать.
Волнуешься?
Не знаю, ситуация, она говорит,
Я ее возвращаю.
СТМП всегда вот так долго запускается, это же жесть. Уже 22 минуты стрима идет, а у него вообще 0 инфы. Даже стрим не запустил еще, даже не появился. Здорово, здорово, Сандалита. В смысле, кто не появился? Вот ты не появлялся давно. О, сэмпай запустил, нормально, наконец-то. Сейчас включу звук.
That's it. I'm deleting this house. Okay, fuck your life. All right. So recently we had a thread pop up on Reddit. Basically, people were asking for gold capacity. So we actually looked into how much gold capacity the game can handle. Echo and it's probably not as high as some people were hoping in that sense, but we did increase it from 5 million to 8 million. But it is a little bit of juice. So we're going from 5 million to 8 million in the upcoming season. Again, maybe not quite as much as some people may have wanted, but it's just what the game can support, so it's still an increase. And we also made a change where you can now always hold 1 million gold. So if you see, instead of having 990k, for example, which would be a level 99 character, Kagato, thanks for the prime, you'll now always be able to hold 1 million gold on your character. That means like a level 1 character, for example, will also be able to hold level 1 million gold. Your gold will no longer be tied to your level. So the character limit will always be 1 million. The stash has gone from 5 to 8 million. And then, yeah, hopefully, again, this is just a bit of a quality of life. Kind of people enjoy it. Hey, Sky, what's going on, dude? Good to see you. I was literally just talking to Corey the other day about whether you were playing last there. You mentioned much last there. Good to see you, buddy. Good, good. That's even more huge. Yeah, the 1 million player cap. Player cap will probably make a pretty big difference and hopefully make it a little bit less awkward for the rest of the So it's definitely something that we're quite happy about. And hopefully people have a lot of fun. Last arc equal last epoch plus lost arc. I meant to say lost arc, but yeah, you're right. I did kind of say last arc. Listen, okay, I don't play either of those games, so I'm allowed to mix them up. That's kind of how it works. Although I should fucking Fuck Lost Ark, I'm ready for Season 9. Yeah, you've taken a long enough D2 break now. You ready to come back? SwissGamer91 with T1. Appreciate that. Thank you. Senpai, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. Hopefully everyone is having a great Saturday. So, we'll talk about a little, I guess we won't talk about, we'll demonstrate something else that we previously talked about in another stream. So for people that aren't already aware, we've kind of changed the way that the Uber materials are going to be functioning in the upcoming season. In the previous season, for the higher tiers of difficulty, you needed to use a rune, right, in order to cube it up to create the higher tiers. So this is a bit of a recap / demonstration. Krembon with the TTV, appreciate it. So yeah, previously I had to invest runes to do these higher difficulty encounters. But we wanted to kind of change things because we want to really push for more people to interact with the content this season. So something that we did is made it so that not only do the first 3 players to complete any of these contents on the highest difficulty get an aura, but everyone else will also get an aura who completes a solo by themselves on these higher difficulties. So if you complete a tier 2 encounter, whether it be Rathma or Diablo Clone, or you reach level 99, you will get an aura associated with it. The big difference is that the top 3 players will get an account-wide aura that has lightning infused in it, And the characters that are not the top 3 will get a character-specific aura, again, not account-wide, that does not have lightning. So basically, everyone that partakes in this content and completes it solo, or engages in this content, in that manner, will get quote-unquote achievement. And then again, we still have that mechanic for people who want to play. So hopefully it gets more people kind of interacting. And then, so in order to support this and allow more people to engage in this content, again, we wanted to remove the rune cost because we wanted to make it more accessible. So what we did is we made it so that now, in order to swap the difficulties, you simply cube the materials, right? So if I have a regular Vision of Terror and I want to make it tier 1, I simply cube it. If I want it to be a tier 2, I cube it again. And if I want to go back to the regular version again, I simply cube it. And so hopefully this just makes it, in general, more accessible for players to engage with this content, choose the difficulty they want, and just kind of have fun. So, yeah, we're hoping that more people kind of engage in that content, have fun, try it out for themselves, try to get those achievements, try to get those auras, things like that, right? And then again, the same thing is with the Void Stone, right? Jaws going to the ground. Yeah, you think that the jaw economy was like largely pushed by the rune sync with the material. I am actually genuinely curious how much of a difference or how much of an impact those rune syncs did have on the economy. So I am going to be quite curious and going to be keeping an eye on what the rune economy looks like in the upcoming seasons, actually. If this change actually has large implications. Yeah, I'm quite curious. We'll see. Yeah, hopefully a lot of people have fun with that and enjoy it. Get to check it out. Alright. I've never tried any of the bosses. How hard is like T0 to T2 compared to before the tiers? Before the tiers is roughly T1. T0 is easy mode essentially, and T2 is hard mode. So basically T1 is the OG difficulty roughly. T0 is easy mode, T2 is hard mode. So it's basically like easy, regular, hard. So if you're like a player who's never done any of the bosses before, you can start off with T0. And T0 brings it like it's obviously a bit more difficult than something like Nutrition, but it brings it closer down. Yo, Dargy is gone, dude. I feel like it's been a hot minute now. Alright, chat. We are going to talk about another cool change. So, something that a lot of players feel is that cannot be frozen is obviously a very core and essential stat, right, to any character. And there's also some useless stats in the game, such as half freeze duration, that they obviously have some kind of impact, but not enough to really make up for the missing functionality that comes with something that cannot be frozen. So, what we've actually decided to do in the upcoming Season 9... Oh. I'm gonna get killed! I forgot how low my life was. Okay, we're gonna get my body back. How low my life was. No. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Gotta respect my beast. So yeah, we've made it so 2 sources of half freeze duration now equate to cannot be frozen. So as you can see, I have half freeze duration on my Undead Crown. I have half freeze duration on my Black Hades chest piece. And if I have both, they equate to cannot be frozen. If I take off one of these pieces, I'm once again frozen. Again, one source is 50%, two sources is 100%. Laugh aloud, half freeze is the new corruption now. Yeah, eventually we'll get more. Does this work on Holy Freeze or Frost Nova? It would work on Frost Nova, not Holy Freeze. Holy Freeze bypasses cannot. But this will apply to all cold sources of damage outside of Holy Freeze, which is an edge case that bypasses cannot. Half freeze duration is possible havocs on shield, boots, gloves, rings, amulets. Yep, it's all good. GG rings just got even better and harder to get. I like it. Yeah, so
can I give you D2? You can buy it.
And hopefully a lot of people have fun with that. Cham can go fuck right off. I'm sure a lot of people will still use Cham runes because obviously you only need 2 pieces, whereas this still requires 2 pieces.
It
But
costs
does at least give you more options, right?
$10.
More things you can do. So hopefully it just adds more itemization. It makes it so these half freeze duration pieces are completely useless. So bad to get. And instead you can kind of decide what you want to do, how you want to get to that cannot be frozen state. You can kind of figure things out that way. Hopefully people have a lot of fun with that. More options, better for early game, especially for sorc. Yep, true. And so speaking of half freeze duration, we wanted to enable more sources of half freeze duration. And obviously we still need to make diamond crafts. So we opted to make diamond crafts largely based around half freeze duration, and some IS and move speed and all res type of matters. So we're going to be bringing diamond crafts as well into season 9, which hopefully will be quite interesting. You'll be able to essentially craft your own cannot be frozen set if you want with these diamond crafts. And you'll be able to make some pretty cool and interesting stuff. Again, some of these values may change. They may be tentative. We may iterate on this. So again, all this is up for change at any point. But yeah, just something to kind of check out. You guys are in the state we're kind of playing with right now. And again, some things are definitely potentially able to be changed in the future, right? But this is kind of the first iteration. We're going to be kind of seeing what happens. Now stock rising. Yeah, so if we start from the top, we have amulets that have all res, defense, missiles, and all attributes. We use a Tal rune. We have rings, which use a hell, have all resistance, defense, missiles, and half freeze duration. We have belts, which have attack speed, half freeze duration, and defense. We have gloves, which are IS, percent attack rate, and enhanced defense. We have boots, which use cone, have flat movement speed, defense resistance, and half freeze duration. That's a Mara's Amu recipe. Yeah, it's kind of like baby Mara's to a degree if you're really lucky. Yeah, you're not wrong. You could potentially make your little baby Mara. We have helms, which have Eldrin, IS, ED, and half freeze duration. We have chest, which uses L, has all resistance, block chance, and enhanced defense. We have shields, which have all resist, chance blocking, and half freeze duration. And then we have weapons, which we decided to incorporate an attack speed based crafts. We are kind of lacking an attack speed craft, so it has less enhanced damage than the other crafts, but it has increased attack speed and attack rate. So you'll probably see a lot of shapeshifters, people that need attack speed. Hopefully that's a lot of fun. And again, 2 sources of half freeze duration will create cannot be frozen. So this will also give people more options to create their own sets of cannot be frozen if they're not able to get it. Maybe you feel like you're gated by a certain unique, maybe you're gated by a Cham rune, whatever it may be. You can at least have some crafting options now to kind of seek out that cannot be frozen state that you may want.
Тут Magic Resist все маленькие, а капец. Ну, прокнулся на карте, а уже чувствуется.
what we currently call diamond craft. We're currently going with prismatic craft, but that may change. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, yeah, people will have a lot of fun with these crafts, and hopefully it'll give people the feeling that they have more options to get counts. Maybe hit some breakpoints that will round up their distance. Isn't prismatic already used in Walrus affix? Yeah, it's the one reason why we might not go with that. Kind of something we're messing with. So we'll see how that goes. Can we get the half freeze on diamond chest crafts? Currently half freeze is already on safety crafts. And I feel like the diamond chest craft is actually kind of good from some of the crafts I made. But again, we might iterate on this. This is all tentative. I'm not going to say these are final values. This is just the values we have currently. Again, any of this may or may not change by the time we actually do that. It's hopefully people are interested and excited for some of the potential possibilities we can craft with this. Hopefully people will have a lot of fun as well. Yeah, hopefully people have a lot of fun. Kaleidoscope crafts. Yeah, it's nice to see that very positive response though. When there's a crafting league, I can't say for sure if we will or will not have another crafting league. There's not currently one planned, and we'll kind of see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Will diamond craft infusions drop from goblins? They will, correct. There will be a diamond infusion that does drop from goblins, similar to all the other types.
I am overburdened.
Have you considered putting back goblins in LOD content? We've considered it, but we've decided it's better for the game. So will Unique's set and Rune Words be back in Season 9? They will indeed be back, yes. That is correct, they will indeed be back. Doing a safety chest plus a ring with half freeze is going to be perfect. Yeah, so hopefully there's, again, I'm hoping that because this whole combination of half freeze makes a lot of these crafts very appealing, because you're going to be able to kind of mix and match things or make them count. So hopefully people feel like that enables them to do some cool and interesting things. Sam the Man, appreciate that. Thanks for supporting the servers. Yeah, so hopefully people have a lot of fun with that. Hopefully people get excited about that. Yeah, we're gonna have again this half free stuff pop into Season 9, and hopefully people just have a lot of fun with that. Hopefully it shakes things up a bit somewhere. We're gonna hop over the screen while we talk about it. The next changes are going to be a little less visual and a little more interesting to talk about for a second. So something I want to talk about right now, considering we were just sitting actually at the Act 5 area, is we have actually made some changes to the way the XP penalties function between levels 20 and 25. So if you saw there, I was in Frigid with my character. Typically when you go to Frigid, if you're like, you know, in these awkward level points, then you can't gain really any experience. You're more than a 10 level difference. Your XP gets penalized to the point where you're no longer going to get XP anymore. It kind of feels bad, it's not great, and then you're kind of forced to go back and do outdated content that you don't really want. So we've actually changed the way that the penalties function. So there will be diminishing returns, for example, in that 2025 bracket when you get to Act 5, but you will now actually get experience. So something like cows, for example, that's closer to your level will still be more experienced continuing through Act 5. So for players that still really enjoyed that nostalgic power leveling in cows for 2025, that will still be possible, but you won't be completely gated to the point where it feels necessary or mandatory. So again, you'll be able to continue progressing directly through Act 5 as soon as you get there. And you will gain experience, and the higher level you get, the less you will be punished in terms of your gained experience. So hopefully that just makes the whole curve feel smoother and better. And yeah, hopefully people feel like the leveling experience in general is just less punishing once you hit that awkward bracket. So are bail runs from level 20 possible now? Yes, you could bail run from level 20. That is correct. You will get less experience than you would if you were 25, but you can in fact bail run from level 20. That is correct. So if you hit A5, you're literally level 20. If you want to host your bail game, go for it. Will cows be faster? Quite possibly. But you can do either or. So. Later's your gun. Appreciate that. So is G-Rush to Hell Chaosing still possible? Again, these changes are only in the very, very isolated situations / levels, 20 to 25. So these experience changes don't have implications on brackets outside of that. It's simply affecting the 20 to 25 awkward bracket. So yeah, again, these changes are strictly affecting 20 to 25.
Неплохое изменение. Теперь с 20-го не надо бегать второй акт, можно сразу в пятый идти.
I think it just didn't stack at all. Maybe someone in chat knows specifically. I actually don't even remember, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it was capped at always 50%, and you either have it or you don't. Yeah, everyone's saying the same thing. So there you go. Yeah, now they will stack as opposed to just always capping at 50%. You can now have up to 100% freeze duration reduction, which obviously two sources of half freeze is 50% plus 50%, which is 100%. So does that change apply to mercs as well? Correct, yeah. Yeah, so hopefully people will be having a lot of fun with that. And hopefully that kind of mixes some things up.
Stay a while and listen. At your service.
Oh. One moment, chat. Hold. Hold. Hold.
Nova.
Hold. Hold.
You remember the class where I taught y'all how to make it rain? That's
You didn't
all we
hold
do
long enough.
Every single night. Dollar
Mark, thank you.
bills, y'all.
Love you guys and this community. Thanks for being awesome.
No, thank you. I appreciate that 50. Thanks for all the support. You guys really do keep the servers alive, you know? Couldn't do this without you. One day I will win the lottery and become an oil prince, and then we can shut down the donations. But in the meantime, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Да, рассказывает истории.
Alright, chat. We're going to be doing a rework debut now. So for people that were around for the previous stream, we previously revealed an Arctic Blast rework. For anyone that wasn't there for it, basically the way it functions is that mobs killed by Arctic Blast explode in a Frost Nova to give them kind of like a shatter effect. And it's quite an interesting and fun and cool mechanic. So we're pretty happy with how Arctic Blast turned out. And so we decided to also rework Inferno. So Inferno will now scale the size of the flamethrower based on its level.
Спасибо большое.
And so the higher level your Inferno gets, eventually you get a full-on flamethrower effect, which is pretty cool in my opinion. And so for players that want to play an Inferno build, will now be able to play an Inferno build, which is pretty sweet. It feels like a full-blown flamethrower, and it's much more satisfying than the dinky little thing that previously existed. We've also increased the base startup speed, so it's static 3 frames now. This applies to Arctic Blast as well. So the wind-up time is much lower than it was previously. So if you want to move around and cast Inferno, it's a lot faster than it was previously. You basically instant cast it, quite honest. It's very fast. Is that max level? That is indeed the highest girth, I guess, that it can get to. So that's as wide as it's going to get, but we can show you from the beginning. So we'll start at level 1 here. It goes by 5 level increments, basically, up to basically what you just saw there. So this is the base at level 1. This is at level 6. As you can see, we're getting a little more girth. We're getting to level 11 now. Getting thicker. 16. We're cooking. And then level 20. We have achieved max girth. As thick as we get. So hopefully this kind of makes it interesting.
Обманщик по-любому. Не знал он
It
цену.
kind of creates a difference between Arctic Blast and Inferno, right? So Inferno will be the very flamethrower-esque build, and Arctic Blast will be very shattery. So yeah, hopefully it's quite cool for that. Is it hard levels only for the width? No. It just reaches a cap in terms of its size. So if you just scale it from plus skills, you'll also get a similar effect. And again, you can cast this very quickly while moving now. Like, if you really want, it's very easy to move around and cast. And it's not FCR dependent, so, except for its proc chance. It'll proc faster with FCR. But yeah, it's not necessarily like before where you were very stationary because the wind-up is so slow, right? What's the proc? So we changed, in a previous season we made it so channeling skills can proc things on your weapons, basically. So for example, in the upcoming season, these require dex? Oh, no, I need dex. I need dex. In the upcoming season, we have added, for example, curse procs onto stabs. Stabs previously were able to proc some spells, but we've added amp damage procs now to stabs. So for example, if you're casting Inferno, your FCR would affect the rate at which you can proc the amp damage, for example. And again, this is on cast, so chance to cast amp damage on cast. And we've also added some weaker versions of lower resist. Again, these values may or may not change. These are the values we're currently going with. So again, I don't want people reading too much of the values because we may or may not iterate on them. But these are currently some tentative values that we're happy with for the moment. And so you'll now be able to also get a chance to cast lower res on rare stabs as well. More crafting stabs. Hopefully that just gives people more incentive to pick up some of these stabs. Really good enough. Where's my proc? Oh, there we go. So yeah, hopefully it kind of makes stabs a little more interesting. You'll have a lot of fun with it. And we're also going to be adding these lower res on casting procs as an attack version onto weapons similarly to amp. So you not only will you be able to get lower res or amplified damage on casting on stabs, but on weapons you'll be able to get lower res or amp damage for attack procs. So again, we're going to make sure that some of these lower res procs are a little bit weaker than some of the uniques whose identities are tied around them. So something like the Diablo Clone Sword or Pus Spitter, for example. Those will still have their place as stronger lower res procs, but we will have some slightly weaker versions that can't spawn these rare items, just to give them some more interesting flavor. And so hopefully people have a lot of fun with that. Hopefully that adds a little bit of mix-up, shakes up some things. All right. Yeah, hopefully people are pretty excited for that. And again, that will be chance to cast amp damage and lower res on stabs, and lower res attack procs on weapons, similarly to amp damage.
Пока херня изменения. Ну, кроме
If
с
you have a low
20
res
на
proc
25.
EA armor, you could, correct, yes. That's correct. In A2 Defiance Merc with a lower res proc item can be like a cheap finish. Yeah, theoretically could. You could have a A2 Merc with a lower res proc. That is totally possible. It's 100% possible. And talking a little bit more about some rare affixes, rare procs, we're also going to be increasing the elemental damage that can spawn on weapons. That's again rare weapons, crafted, etc. So you should see a pretty significant damage boost to all elemental mods as well. Obviously, this mostly relates to Vengeance characters, but again, if you're just crafting some cool weapons and you get an elemental damage mod, it should be a little more significant than it was previously. Also plan on making so the elemental damage suffixes are much closer in value to the prefixes. In the current iteration of E2, the suffixes are very low values. They'll be like 10, 20 damage, and then a prefix will be like 200, 300, right? So the suffixes are such throwaway stats, basically, because they have no real value. So the suffixes will get brought up a lot, be a lot closer to prefixes. And then hopefully if in combination you roll a really good elemental damage prefix and a really good elemental damage suffix, you suddenly have a nice elemental damage weapon. So yeah, hopefully elemental damage weapons in general will just be a little bit better than previously. Is this rare elemental damage buff for weapons or only on non-weapons as well? So we previously did a pass on all the elemental damage mods except for weapons, but at the time I didn't get around to the weapons. So basically this is something I plan on doing in tandem with all the charm changes and stuff like that we had previously, but it kind of got left behind, and so it's just long overdue basically. I love that rares are getting buffed so much that you're going to want to pick them up and check the mods. Yeah, we're continually trying to make it so that people want to pick up rares. Wait, amp damage on cast, Shockwave Druid. That is correct. So for whoever was asking earlier about buffing Shockwave Druid, you can now find some amp damage on cast. People mess around with some things and have some fun. Alright, let's talk a little bit more quality life stuff. Talk a little bit more about some quality life stuff. Quality of life stuff. So Uber Tristram. Let's talk Uber Tristram. Okay. We've been doing behind the scenes. The team has been doing a ton of work on rewriting a bunch of the server code. Right. We're obviously hoping that these massive changes make it so that things run much smoother. I don't want to tickle your balls too much and get you too excited, because obviously whenever you talk about server stability, it's a very difficult thing. You set expectations and people expect perfection. But we have been doing massive things behind the scenes. The team has been putting in a ton of work in, so I want to give a big shout out to them. They've been putting some serious hours, really improving these the server code, which is very archaic and very dated, obviously. And one of the big changes that we made while doing that was that we pulled Uber Tristram out of the server code and integrated it directly into our own code, V2, so that obviously it's available for softcore. We can fix any bugs that pop up. Like previously, there was like the immunity bugs that were kind of weird, so we shouldn't have any of those issues going forward. And then we also wanted to kind of push a little bit further, so we moved Standard of Heroes out of Uber Tristram and onto Uber Ancients, so that the Standard of Heroes will kind of be more part of the mapping loop. You do a bunch of maps, you get a Standard of Heroes, you juice a map, you repeat the cycle, right? And then another thing we wanted to do is Uber Tristram. Obviously, we want Uber Tristram to have difficulty, right? We didn't really want it to be like Lord of Destruction, where you can infinitely zerg the boss and eventually kill it. But we also don't really want Uber Tristram to be as terrifying as something like Diablo Clone or Wrath, right? It's kind of supposed to be like, I don't want to say casual, but a more casual Uber than something like Wrath or Diablo Clone, for example, right? It's supposed to be a more accessible Uber, basically. And so we still want to challenge at the same time. So what we did essentially is, for everyone that's not aware, the way that you enter Uber Tristram in Project Diablo 2 is you need a Pandemonium Talisman. This is gained by combining all the organs, of course, and then you use it at the Blood Fountain in Haragoth, right? So a change we've made now is there is now a portal to Haragoth within Uber Tristram, where previously you ported in and could not leave. But unlike LOD, if you exit the portal, you will see there are only 3 gray portals. These gray portals are a new type of portal in Project Diablo 2. The way they function is whenever you enter a gray portal, it is consumed. So if I leave again, I now only have 2 portals. If I enter the second one, I now only have 1 portal. So you essentially get 3 throwaway portals that you can use to enter Uber Tristram, giving you a little bit more of a chance to attempt that fight. And hopefully this makes the fights a little bit more accessible. And again, yeah, and like a lot of people mentioned, this is like Path of Exile, for example. And yeah, hopefully that gives people a little bit more of a chance to enter the fight without feeling like they really need to cheese it to the best of their ability to ensure success. Gives them a little bit more wiggle room, and just makes it a little bit more accessible in general for a lot of people. Can you go back in if you die? You can, as long as you have a portal. I'm so glad I donated $20 earlier. I'm glad you don't regret throwing your money away. Smitty said the 61 months. Fucking animal. Good, always be sweet. And be good, please, Ryan.
Прикольно, что Тристрам может 3 раза заходить.
How much money to make season 9 hardcore only? Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. But yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can save and exit. You can run out of the map. If your game crashes, all those things, right? You can re-enter. As long as the servers don't die, those portals will be waiting for you. Doggone decoy with the prime. Appreciate that. Thanks for the 15 months. Thank you. Yeah, so hopefully people are quite excited for that. How does it work for party play? Like, can 2 people use the same portal? No. So if you're playing in a party environment, you will all teleport when you first use the talisman, right? So on the first usage of the talisman, everyone will port into the encounter. That means only 3 players can rejoin, whether it's the 3 same players, 3 different players, 3 new players, whatever the case is. 3 players can join, and they will each consume one of those portals. Dual life, I appreciate that. Quality piece, fucking piece. We're also playing with the idea of incorporating these consumable portals into dungeons, because we're trying to do some reworks on dungeons. I don't want to go into too much detail because we're still kind of iterating and experimenting with what we're doing exactly. But we're trying to make dungeons a little more interesting, better. Hopefully it all pans out. Again, I want to kind of temper expectations because we're going to have to go through an iterative process. But yeah, we're also experimenting with having this incorporated to dungeons as well. Alright, chat. Mopping some more. Oh, Makoku, good to see you, dude. Alright, yeah, mopping some more stuff. Swap into some more stuff here. Doesn't mean you can spawn Ubers in P1 bring in 3 other players? You could technically, yeah. But again, we're not trying to make Tristram a super crazy hard fight. So I mean, if you need a crutch for Uber Tristram, we're not really that upset about it. It's not like Diablo 4 or Wrath. We're trying to really enforce this very difficult mechanic. With the changes to the visual bug, will Mephisto no longer invisible charge bolts? If the invisible charge bolts were a result of too many sprites on screen, yes. If they were a result of desync, then no. Desync happens, it's part of online games in general. Obviously Diablo 2 is an even older game, which means it's a little more prone to desync than some of these newer games. But yeah, it very much depends on the situation and what caused the bolts to go invisible. So again, sprite related, if there's too many charge bolts, too many projectiles on screen, or too many fire, whatever, then yes. If it's a side effect of just simple desync, then there's not really much we can do about that. It's a very old game, obviously. Desync's gonna happen.
Пассетик.
It happens on online games that are even new. Like lag happens.
Может Magic.
So yeah, it completely depends. Alright, chat, we're going to hop into some more stuff here. We're talking. Stretch this out enough. It's close to being too long. Let's remove the code for desync. Level 100 Magikarp. This is why you never evolve to Gyarados. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Alright. Here we go. Alright. So, for anyone that has been following some of the developer streams up till now, we, on a previous stream, talked about how we're going to be doing a rebalance of all the armor values in Project Diablo 2. So something people have complained about in the past is why has Arcane Plate and Mage Plate, why have they been so dominant for so long? Why are they so OP? Why do they cost no strength? Why is there no correlation from strength requirements to defense? Why are there such arbitrary values? Why don't they make sense? Why? And so it's something that we reviewed, and we've added more of a correlation directly to strength requirements to the amount of defense that they provide now. So it's going to make a little bit more sense now. Before I show you the exact values, I'm going to basically start with the fact that the low strength requirement armors are going to go down in value, and the high strength requirement value or armors are going to go up in value. So there's going to be more defense on the high end and less defense on the low end. This is going to mean that there's going to be more of a curve in terms of strength requirements from bottom to top. Do the speed penalties still exist in PE2? The speed penalties do not exist. No, there's no movement speed penalty
Huh?
wearing a higher defensive armor. So yeah, again, there should be a little bit more of a curve or difference. So we're going to start off with just going through some normal armors. If we look at these columns here, these are the original values in Lord of Destruction. This is the strength requirement of the armor, and these are the new min and new max values. These are the level, Q level, sorry, and the level requirement of the items, and this is going to be the change or difference between them. So as you can see, for the most part, most of the normal armors have kind of stayed the same. Ancient armor is going to be going down a little bit, and this is because we're kind of rescaling things in general, and there's going to be a little bit more of a jump between the differences now. So, as you can see, normal for the most part kind of stayed the same. We'll move down to Nightmare. We're just kind of talking about Nightmare. Nightmare also, for the most part, kind of stayed the same, with the exception of Mage Blade has taken a big hit. We're on an ad. Okay. We'll chill for a second here. We'll go to this for a second. The ad should be very short because I have it on the smallest ad block. I think it's set to 15 seconds. I don't know if it actually follows that though. But yeah, it should be very, very low. So yeah, it was like 15 seconds. Yeah, it should only be like 15 seconds. I have ad set close to off as possible. All right, we'll give people a couple more seconds, and then are we all good now? Are we good? Just let them miss it, teach them to sub like the rest of us. I'm not gonna make people support. If people want to support, they can. I'm not gonna force them to do it. All right, here we go. So, moving on to the Nightmare armors. So, for the most part, again, the Nightmare armors have kind of relatively stayed the same. The biggest thing you're going to notice is that obviously Mage Plate took a big hit with this change. It's dropped down 61 defense. So it's kind of a little bit of an outlier. Outside of that, most of the Nightmare armors have kind of stayed the same. But again, obviously Mageplate has been quite OP in the past, and it was long overdue that it kind of went down a little bit. Where's the new strength requirement? There is no new strength requirement. They are the same. And so again, we can now move down to Hell. And we can see that Hell has received the biggest changes of all of them. We can see that the low strength requirement armors have been brought down quite significantly. And something like Sacred Armor, for example, has gone up by a fairly large margin. 138 defense increase, for example, on average. Again, these are the average increases. So we're going to see a lot more defense on the high end and a little bit less on the low end. And this is going to create a little bit more of a curve as these things go up. Something like Arcane Plate has obviously gone down a little bit. And we've also changed Shadow Plate to go from 235 strength because it was a little bit too similar to Sacred Armor in that sense. And if you look at the other difficulties, the previous version, the exceptional version, was actually a lower strength requirement than the other iterations of Sacred Armor. But for some reason in Hell it was not. So we've moved Shadow Plate to 220 strength in between Sacred Armor and Lacquered, and it's been rebalanced accordingly as well. And so yeah, hopefully this gives people more options in terms of how they want to build their character, and makes them think a little bit more about how much strength requirement the item is, how much defense they actually want to push for, and kind of just shakes the meta up a little bit in terms of what people are going for and what type of things they want to actually build. Feels like this was intended to make Sacred Armor even more nicer. That was one of the implications, yes. We did want the high defense armors to feel like you're more rewarded for going for that high strength requirement. And we did want to make it so that you're less rewarded for the low strength requirement items, right? So people have a little bit more choice now, and it'll be less obvious what to go for immediately out the box, right? People didn't just make the rune words based on style. Shake my head. Listen, I agree with you. I've always only made my chest armor based on style, and no matter how much we rebalance this shit, I'm still going to completely ignore all the numbers and wear whatever looks cool, because rule of cool is where real power comes from. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna spend all this time doing this, and as soon as I play the game, I'm gonna ignore all of it. But I don't care. We still did it anyways. Fashion
Я
gamers
слышал
rise
что-то.
up.
Good to see you. Afternoon.
Короче, он поменял дефенс, я так понимаю.
So yeah, regardless,
4
we did make the
пояса,
change,
окей.
so people feel less obligated to use certain armor types, and hopefully it's just healthy for the game overall. So Tyrells gets a huge defense buff too, then yes, so uniques will also be modified because of these changes, because obviously their base defense values are going to be different, which means that any enhanced damage modifiers, etc. they have are going to obviously scale a little bit harder or worse, depending on if the base was increased or decreased.
Так, а это что у нас? Settlement.
And probably looking at some more base armor types. I'm considering. I was looking at like gloves and boots and stuff, but they actually didn't look too bad. So I might review them further. And it might peak shields, but yeah, they didn't look too egregious compared to the chest armor. So we're starting with chest for now, and then we'll see what we do with the other ones.
Блин, амплифай я тоже не хочу бегать.
Yeah, it's something also Canite pointed out is quality level is still factored into these values. So something like Arcane Plate is still relatively stronger than some other armors in that strength requirement. Basically what this takes into consideration is there is a difficulty modifier. What the difficulty modifier means is that it's considering whether it's a normal, exceptional, or an elite base, and it scales more depending on which one it is. It then takes a strength modifier into consideration, how much strength does the armor cost, and then it also looks at the Q level of the item, how rare is the item. And so these three factors all basically accumulate to what its current defense value is, right?
Это не окей.
So yeah, those are the three variables essentially that come into play to define how much defense the armor actually has, right? Q level, what difficulties does it drop, and what's the strength requirement. Yeah, and then hopefully, yeah, again, hopefully more people have fun with that and kind of get to mess around. All right. How you guys feeling? Are you guys getting excited for season 9?
Ну, что там еще он расскажет?
Have you guys been enjoying the changes we've been showing? Holy Nova does damage to undead? It already does damage to undead. Some great changes coming. Yes, I'm ready. Pretty stoked. Very excited. I'm hyped since 3 weeks already. Changes have been solid. Yeah, I'm hoping that people have a lot of fun. You know, teams will obviously be working their ass off, making all kinds of wicked changes. And yeah, we're very excited to see how people enjoy the stuff that we're doing. Patch notes when? We usually do the patch notes the week that the season's gonna launch. Any showcase on the summon persistence? Yeah, we can show the summon persistence real quick for people that haven't seen it. Do a really quick show. So for anyone that isn't aware, we've actually changed it now so that summons will persist through games. So for example, if I summon 5 Iron Golems, or sorry, 5 Blood Golems, and then I rejoin a game, then 5 Blood Golems will stay.
Ну, вот это вот крутая, то что с самонами перезаходишь, они теперь призваны.
It will still count towards your 5 golem limit, but you can only have 1 iron golem. So one of the benefits of this is that you can only have 1 iron golem now, which allows us to separate it from its own individual icon, and that way you can always see its health bar. So your iron golem will always show its health bar now, it'll count towards the limit, and it can't be overwritten by other golem types. So if I spam a bunch of blood golems, they'll never overwrite my iron golem. If I summon another iron golem, it will overwrite my current iron golem. But you'll always be able to see how much health your iron golem has, and you can only have 1. And this will allow you to easily monitor the state of your iron golem, if you should back off when you die, all these types of things, right? And so we were talking a little bit about how iron golem obviously has risk reward in relation to it, right? We want some risk reward so that when you decide to put an item into your iron golem, you still have that, well, how good of an item do I want to put in, because this is a very strong benefit, and if it dies, I'm going to lose it. But we also still wanted to have the ability to do that, but still be able to change your character and modify your character in the future, right? We don't want it so that you make an iron golem and then you never want to respec again because you made an infinity iron golem. So we were thinking, how can we solve this issue? How can we make it so that players can have this risk reward element while still not feel like they're permanently stuck whatever state their character is when they make that decision? So now, if you unsummon your iron golem will drop the item that it was created from. So this also happens when you respec. This happens if you create a new iron golem. This happens in any state where basically the golem is lost from outside of combat.
Это тоже круто.
So again, you can summon an iron golem, and if the iron golem dies in combat, you lose the item. But if the iron golem is removed from your own personal choice, whether it be unsummon, entering a PvP portal, Diablo clone portal, respecking, etc., then you will get your item refunded. So again, in combat you will lose your item, but from personal choices of your own doing, you will get your item returned to you. And so, yeah, that allows players to kind of feel like they can respec if they want to, even though they have an infinity iron golem or stuff like that, right? You go on the decon and your infinity drops tech W, yeah. I wouldn't recommend doing that because it will drop on the floor, but at least you can rejoin the game and pick it up. So if your iron golem's about to die, you could just unsummon it? Yeah, you could. If you were so scared that you're like, my iron golem is going to die, you could teleport away and you could unsummon it. That's your own decision. It's something you have to do in the heat of the moment, but you could do it, yeah. Pure Fret with T1. Appreciate that. You can already save and quit if you want to save your iron golem anyways. Yeah, correct. You could save and quit. You could unsummon them really quickly. It's kind of up to you what you want to do. But yeah, you could do that. If you have the skill, if you can pass the skill check, unsummoning your golem in combat, then yeah. You can unsummon your iron golem before a map boss. You could, yeah. If you're like, this map boss always kills my iron golem, I want to clear the map with my golem, but I know my golem's gonna die to the boss, you can unsummon your iron golem right before the boss. So it'll be kind of up to you how you want to play with this and what you want to do exactly. But at least you have the decision, or the ability to make those decisions, right? And yeah, hopefully that's a lot of fun. Kind of interesting. Add some quality.
Кири, а с кем ты играешь в Resurrected-то?
If you did got metal grid, does it drop the item? I have not thought about that. It's something we'll have to test. That's kind of an edge case I didn't really think about. That's something we'll have to test. I'll make a note of that. I'm not sure if anyone else in the team thought about that. You can test it live. It might already work. All right, we'll give it a go. Test it live. Sign up live, chat. It's actually not something I'm 100% sure on. So we'll test it live. Find the metal grid. Get one. Maybe we'll get one. Where did it go? Let's try again. There we go, we got one. Okay. Oh wait, I'm a necro. I gotta remove my skill, I think. Yeah, okay, I think we gotta do it like this to get a proper test. We have an iron golem. Okay, that's not good. Okay, that's not good. Okay, we shouldn't have tested that live. Okay, we shouldn't have tested that live. Yeah, we should have tested that live. Okay, we're gonna have to let it happen. We're gonna pretend that didn't happen. I'm gonna make a note of something that didn't happen real quick. And we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. Yeah, we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. Yeah, that didn't happen. He's going off script. Cut the stream.
Там этот, соседям-то не долби. Говорю, соседям скоро в полу дырку продолбишь.
Listen, I was set up. I didn't dupe. I was set up. They put the gun in my hand and pulled the trigger. Dang, stream went black. What happened? Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. Yeah, that never happened. Okay, we're gonna talk about another rework. This one may or may not still be work in progress. We were talking about it a little bit before the stream. So we might iterate on the visual effects of it. We're not sure or not. But it's something we were talking about. We are happy with the mechanical functionality regardless, so we can talk about it. Again, it may or may not be work in progress. Change it out. Why are you guys posting clips? That didn't happen. It didn't happen. This is why we have beta. Yeah, this is why we have beta. So we have made some changes to Holy Light. So Holy Light previously would just heal an ally, cast it on an ally. We've changed it so that Holy Light will now heal or do damage within an AoE. So the way it functions is that it will, what's the best way to explain this? If you cast it on an ally, it will do a full heal effect and half its damage in an AoE. if you cast it on an enemy, it will deal its full AoE damage and half its heal to allies within that AoE. So depending on what type of target you cast on, it will either do full damage or full heal within that AoE. Kind of like Omni Knight in Dota 2? Yes, very much like Omni Knight in Dota 2. So again, if you cast it on an ally, they will receive the full heal, and enemies around them will take half damage, or half the Holy Light damage. If you cast it on an enemy, the enemy will take full damage, and allies will take half the heal. So it's either 100%/50% or 50%/100% damage/heal. Correct. Correct. Is it magic damage? It is magic damage. You have to have a target to cast on. You can't cast on an empty area. You can cast on the ground, and then it'll hit within a certain radius. But no, you can't just cast on nothing. And the secondary effect is that it will knock back undead. So it has a secondary effect of knocking back undead on cast. Kind of similar to like the old school Sanctuary effect. So again, you can use this for healing your merc, healing your friends, etc. We're still exploring how to handle that right now. We're trying to make an update in real time. We're still trying to figure out if we can make that work flawlessly or the way we want it. And then if it doesn't work, then we gotta back up plan really would. But yeah, so we're still figuring that out. But yeah. So yeah, hopefully this also kind of makes this ability a little bit more interesting. It makes it kind of dynamic, right? I think it'll be quite cool where, yeah, you kind of have to make decisions whether you cast it on an ally or cast it on an enemy, based on what you want. Can you self-heal? No, you cannot. A ground animation for the AoE? Yeah, we're still trying to figure out exactly what we want to do with the visual. So that's why I mentioned before we started that we may iterate on the visual of it. We're still trying to figure out exactly how we want to do the visual of it. We still want to show it to you guys and bring you guys up to date with the mechanical functionality of the river. So again, we may modify the visual a bit. We're still playing around with that, but yeah, we just want to show you guys. Hopefully, level up with that. Hopefully, kind of gives people some cool stuff to do. Does the AoE scale with the skill level? No, it'll be a pretty compact AoE. It's not going to be a super high AoE skill. It's not going to be a clear speed skill. It's very much a supportive skill. So, it's not going to have a massive AoE, if that's what you're looking for. It's very much going to be a supportive skill, and very much heal your friend in the pocket, or do some damage to some mobs in the pocket. I think we're the best way to do this. You guys bear with me for a second, chat. See if I get lucky. Can I get lucky? Here we go. Okay, so for anyone that played Diablo 2 way back in the day, I believe 1.07 was when the bug was introduced. Diablo 2 used to have more pallets to monsters, such as purple mobs. But the bug was introduced in 1.07 to disable those pallets from being selected on elites. So we've actually brought the full palette back into the game. And these are typically blue and purple monsters. So yeah, we now have brought back the old palettes that were disabled because of the bug. So there's going to be a little bit more monster color variety on elites. It's yeah, it's a bit of a nostalgic throwback. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So hopefully people have some fun. Just if you played 1.07 or those very early versions of Diablo 2, hopefully this is a little nostalgic for you, seeing some of these old palettes that you haven't seen in a very long time. Right? So there's nothing for you colorblind people. Well, it depends, I guess, on your colorblind. Your colorblindness is typically blues and purples, and yeah, it's probably not your answer. I apologize. Friends, pink with the prime. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully people have a little bit of fun seeing some of the throwbacks of the purple and pink mobs. Does it work on cows too? It should just work on elites in general, yeah. Unless the specific monster type has some palette shift block, which some mobs do, then it should work. So it depends completely on the mob. I think actually cows can't be colored, can they? I don't remember. I think cows might actually not be able to be colored. I think, but yeah, certain mobs can't be palette shifted, so it depends on the mob. Infan 14 with a T1. Yeah, nice little cool, fun chain that hopefully people have a good time with. All right. All right, chat. We're talking about another one.
Спал нормально идет.
Another one.
По карте бегаем по чуть-чуть. Почти
We got a
30%.
couple more changes to go through today. And then maybe we'll do a little bit of QA. Talk a little bit about how people are feeling. Season 9 is going to be insane. Yeah? You guys are excited? I feel like we have a lot of really, really good stuff coming into Season 9. We have things like Next Hit Always Misses getting fixed, which is going to be a massive, massive improvement in the game in general. Game is much less archaic than it previously. And for anyone that's not familiar with what Next Hit Always Misses bug is, basically anytime a character was put into an animation, such as blocking, faster hit recovery, things like this, the next skill or attack use would always miss. This doesn't only mean things like melee attacks, but this also means spells. So for example, if you were a sorceress with max block and you block, your next Nova could actually miss. If you're a melee character such as a Frenzy Barbarian, you're getting hit a lot in melee range. You would be missing a lot of attacks because you're constantly getting melee. So next hit always misses being fixed is going to make it so that all characters feel more responsive, because it's very much a laggy feeling, right? When you go to attack, cast a spell, and it simply does nothing. It feels very disconnected, and it feels like lag. Like, we're not going to have that anymore. Small plays RL, Prime. Appreciate that. This obviously has a lot of implications on builds that are melee. It has a lot of implications on those sequence-based attacks, such as Zeal, Jab, things that are stuck in animation, because the next hit always misses will just make them miss all their attacks. So it's going to be big buffs to those attacks. It's also a big buff to something like Sacrifice. When we actually looked into this, we realized that the attack to self on Sacrifice was actually proccing next hit always misses. So Sacrifice, for example, was missing a lot because you were damaging yourself. That will no longer be the case. Doc attacks with the front. And so yeah, hopefully a lot of people are quite happy about that, and hopefully it makes the game just overall feel much more like a modern game. Can you go over what Golem Mastery does to Iron Golem now, since there's a cap at 1? So Golem Mastery increases the maximum amount of golems you can have. Your singular Iron Golem counts towards that maximum amount. So if your max cap for golems via Golem Mastery is 3 golems, that means that you can have 3 golems of any type, whether it's 1 Iron Golem, 2 blood, etc. It also means that the bonuses, such as increased damage, whatever, all those bonuses still apply to Iron Golem. So while you won't be able to have more than 1 Iron Golem, you will be able to have other golems alongside your Iron Golem, and the bonuses that are applied via Golem Mastery will still apply to your Iron Golem. So yeah. Can Iron Golems be made with Aura on equipped gear, have the Aura? They should be able to, yes. And we've also changed next hit delay in the next season. So again, this is kind of more advanced Diablo 2 mechanics, but for people that aren't aware of how next hit delay functions, certain abilities in the game have next hit delay. What next hit delay means is that when a monster is hit by an attack with next hit delay, it applies a certain amount of next hit delay frames to the monster. That means for a temporary amount of time, the monster cannot take damage from any other attack with next hit delay. So for example, if I use a skill that applies 1 second of next hit delay, and my other friend attacks, but he also has next hit delay on his ability, his ability cannot deal damage after
Фига
about 1
себе
second
ты.
the next hit delay wears off the net.
Опять
We've
что-то
now made it
случилось,
so
что ли,
that next hit
Сандалет?
delay does not stop other players from dealing damage. Everyone will have their own next hit delay, I guess you could say pools, or whatever you want to
Я
call it.
давно ее не видел.
Next hit delay will always be associated to the player in the missile. So if you have multiple players and they're all attacking the same monster and they all have next hit delay attacks, they'll all deal damage. You're no longer going to cancel out each other's damage via next hit delay.
Что у вас там опять что-то случилось?
And hopefully that'll make it so that multiplayer again feels less disconnected in the sense where sometimes you feel like you're doing nothing. And hopefully means that players will feel less inclined to avoid the abilities or the builds of other players that also are playing these next hit delay builds, right? You can now interchangeably play more builds together because you're not canceling each other out via next hit delay. I guess because of that, we're obviously expecting the difficulty of the game to be a little bit easier. So we're now increasing the HP percent increase per player in the upcoming season. It's kind of an experimental change. We'll see how it pans out. Currently, we're playing with the number of... currently, it's 50% increased health per player, and we're playing around with 70% increased health per player. So we'll see how that pans out. Again, we're very much experimenting with this, and those numbers may change throughout beta. But yeah, we're going to see how that pans out now that players are doing more damage than previously. And yeah, see how it goes. Yeah, so again, 50% is what it is in vanilla. In vanilla, it increases by 50% per player, and we're trying out 70%. So that's an increase of 20% per player. Again, these are tentative values. These values may or may not change. We're very much experimenting with this, and we'll kind of see how it goes.
Что опять Сандалет случилось-то у вас?
But yeah, because we are allowing more players to deal damage at the same time, which is obviously a form of power creep, we're offsetting that power creep a little bit by giving a little bit higher HP modifier. Since we're already on the topic as well of melee characters,
Такие
just
грубости
talk a little bit
просто
about
редко
changes.
допускают.
So this is again an experimental change that we're kind of seeing if we like it or not. But we've currently set the cap of attack rating or chance to hit for melee characters from 95 to 100%. We're going to make it so that you need to invest quite a bit to get above that 95%, but it will be potentially possible to reach that 100% point. Again, this will require an investment, so you'll need to have very high attack rating. A lot of players may or may not even get to that point, but it is technically possible. So yeah, players will be able to kind of decide how they want to build their character. Do you want to go for more damage? Do you want to go for more of an attack rating build? Do you want to aim for 100% hit? Do you want to aim for more damage? Do you want to aim for more survivability? Hopefully this kind of creates some interesting itemization.
Я тебе давно уже говорил, что ты уже
How it's be
успокоился по
affected by
этому
minus
поводу.
defense or ITD mods. So for anyone that's not familiar,
Huh?
ITD previously
Да.
would still only cap
Он
95%
написал, а
chance
где
to hit,
шлюха матрешка?
because ITD did not completely bypass the attack rating formula. It removed the
Даже
need to do the
Наташа
whole
говорит,
defense
опять
check thing, which means
матрешка.
you basically defaulted to 95% chance to hit. So ITD is technically indirectly buffed by this change because now ITD is a 100% chance to hit on those regular mobs. So ITD previously was capped at 95%. ITD will now be a 100% always hit. For anyone that doesn't know what ITD is, that's ignores target's defense. So ignore target defense stocks will go up more in the sense that they will allow you to hit that 100% quite easier than something like stacking attack rating. But again, that's just another interesting itemization choice that people can make. So yeah, hopefully this just kind of drives more interesting itemization choices. Again, you know, you got to make decisions like, do I go for ITD because it gives me free 100% on regular mobs? Do I stack AR because I really want that 100% on everything? Do I want to go more damage, survivability, etc., right? So yeah, hopefully that'll kind of drive some more interesting choices, and then players can choose to min-max their character the way they want to do it.
Good afternoon.
Does ITD work on bosses? It does not. ITD works on regular monsters. So ITD still is not overpowered in the sense that it obviously cannot apply to all mobs. It will only apply to regular mobs. So.
А них 5 ХР.
Non-consent with the prime. Appreciate that. The large HP percent per player might encourage more solo farming. I would agree, but we're also increasing the amount of damage that players will deal in a party environment by removing next hit delay. So, again, these are still experimental and tentative values that we're kind of throwing out. I don't want people to get too hung up on these, which is often why we don't throw these
10
values out early on.
здесь. Здесь мы пока не впадаем, да?
But yeah, basically the purpose of increasing the HP percent per player is not to basically like slow the game down or make the game harder in that sense. It's to offset the power creep that has been introduced into the game.
Я смотрю, что будет в прожекте
So it's an
Удалита.
offset, if that makes sense. And we're
А
gonna
на заднем
figure out what that
фоне
number
Наташа
is, where
коробки
that
собирает.
feels right, and it might
Нет,
require some
я
iterating
слышно, когда я
or
говорю.
some different values. Right?
Такой прям...
So we're gonna kind of gonna mess around. Yeah, next to delay isn't removed. I shouldn't say removed, but it's been reworked so that it's not a factor in party play. It's local to yourself and doesn't affect your allies. So yeah. Wouldn't that ruin early game where no characters have any skills? The early game will probably be a little bit more difficult, yes. So normal and nightmare will probably be a little bit more difficult.
Фаворит, тебе еще повезло, что я настроил микрофон наконец-то. Так-то, если бы как раньше все слышно было бы, я думаю, все сбежали бы за 3 секунды.
We're kind of messing with that, and we're going to kind of see how it plays out. We're going to be keeping an eye on it. We're going to get feedback. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe we love it, maybe we hate it. But we'll iterate as we go, and we'll see how it pans out, right?
Давай уже полопол, заходи,
So
показывай.
we'll kind of see how it goes. But I think it'll be probably fine. And it should be a lot of fun too. Hopefully people will enjoy it, and hopefully people have a lot of fun with that. And again, we'll iterate as needed, and we'll kind of keep an eye on things, and we'll tweak the values as we go. All right.
Сэмпай смотрит сейчас на стриме больше, чем на старте было в поде.
Two-player games currently loot stays the same as single player, as far as I know. No, that is not the case in PD2. You'll get an increase per player. All right. Here we go. We're gonna hop into the last couple changes here. We're gonna give a couple changes here. We got a couple more. We're kind of nearing the end here. Hopefully you're all getting very stoked though. Hopefully people are loving the content we'll be showing today. And hopefully you're all excited for Season 9. Again, for anyone that's just tuning in here, Season 9 Anarchy will begin April 12th. The open beta will be from April 8th to April 10th. The closed beta will be from March 30th to April 7th. Anyone can join the open beta. It'll just take place on the live servers. The closed beta will be for anyone who's reached 99 in the Crafting League or Season 8. For anyone who has been one of the top 3 Uber killers on Wrathful or Diablo Clone in either of those leagues. And for anyone that's a supporter of Archangel or Primeval tier or higher, as well as anyone who's a content creator, etc. People that help the PD2 community in some manner, whether it's updating the wikis, things like that. Looks like my fight guy died. But yeah, we'll be inviting you all. We'll send those beta keys out the day of the beta to your associated emails, and hopefully everyone has a lot of fun with that. Alright, we're gonna hop in these last couple changes here. This is the only joy left in Canada. It's a good thing you left. Wow, what's going so wrong in Canada since I left? Couldn't have gone that bad. I haven't been gone that long. I mean, Trudeau was already president when I left, so it couldn't get any shittier.
Where can I take you?
All right,
Hello.
here we go.
Good day.
All right, here we go. Banned for politics. Oh no, I'm banned. I talk politics. Uh-oh. Alright, chat, we're gonna talk about something else. we are going to talk about something else. We have decided, this is not really like something we typically talk about in these streams, but it's worth talking about. It's kind of a big one. Greg Pugh with the Prime. So we don't typically talk balance changes, but we're going to talk balance changes for a minute here. We have buffed teleport a lot. So teleport was previously a 65% damage penalty at level 1. It's now down. It's down to. It says 48%. It's supposed to be 50%. So I might have to review that. But it's now going to be 50% base. It'll go down by 2% per level, up to level 16, and then 1% per level after 16, and that's going to be soft points. So again, up to 16, you'll see it goes down by 2%, and post 16, it'll go down by 1%. I suppose we actually need to move the tooltip. It's currently being shown in the hard point category. So we'll have to update the tooltip in that sense. But again, this is soft points, not hard points, even though it's still showing like that. So we just got to update the tooltip bit. But yeah, again, it will be a 50% base, minus 50% base. It will go down by 2% per soft point for the first 16 levels. And then it will go down by 1% per soft point post.